Also, I think Eric on the team deals with a lot of the PR and marketing. I'm not sure if he's in our shared chat there.
Yeah, I didn't. Let me check again. I don't think I saw him on the share chat.
I think he's coming in a couple of minutes. Just give us a message. Oh, hi Jacob. How's it going?
Doing great.
Hey, what's going up, Jacob? How are you?
Good. How's it going, Noah?
It's going well. I like your mic. You sound crystal clear.
Hopefully you don't hear my dog underneath. I hear the collar rattling on the floor. So how's everyone been since we've been here last?
We've been good, doing good. We just got oh, there you are. Good to see you again.
Hello.
Yeah, we got a check mark on Twitter, Telegram, YouTube. So we got our socials verified, and we're booking quite a few AMAs despite the nature of the market currently. So nothing to complain about on our end. How you been?
That's awesome. That's great. I just got out of an AMA with Caesar's Calls, and they had great things to say about you guys. So, and I know it firsthand because I've been on here a couple times. But no, it's been going great. Even though we're in a what seemingly is a bear market and all that, it's actually the perfect time, I think, to launch. And the smart investors are the ones who are playing in the game now, as opposed to the people the degens looking for the next major moon, and that's about it.
Yeah, what I typically tell people is bear markets flush out all the moon boys and short-term players, and what you have left are people that are actually building and in it for the long run. So this is the time to accumulate, forge relationships, and hopefully build something substantial that'll last you and reap the benefits for you during the next bull run.
Yeah, absolutely. From an investor perspective, but even I think more importantly from a project perspective, this is going to weed out a lot of the projects that are either too amateur or too early or just not strong enough. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. But it needs to happen. We need to get cycle going through, both from an investor perspective as well as a project perspective.
Yep. And what I typically tell people is just zoom out, look at the long-term assets, the assets that have stood the test of time over the last 4 bull cycles, and those prices have gone up regardless of where you bought. You could have bought at the peak of the last bull market and you would still be up on your Bitcoin investment. So anyway, not to go off on too much of a tangent, Jacob, you've been with us before and you've shared what you guys are building. The Cure token is obviously has a very admirable mission. For listeners that are hearing about you guys for the first time, do you want to quickly give us a breakdown of how you guys are using DeFi to help rid the planet of dreadful diseases like cancer and other chronic, debilitating, and life-threatening diseases? So, give us some more insight on that. And also, Jacob, tell us about the Beckley Foundation as well, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love talking about the foundation side. So I guess it is our birthday, or it was yesterday. We reached 1 year old as a project, which is, I would consider us a veteran project in the small market cap space at that point. 1 year is, I think, a big milestone. And once you get past 1 year is really when you start to flourish. You've really honed in things. You built a solid foundation. You've doubled down on technology and utility at that point. And I think that's at the stage we're at. So I'm super excited about all the things that are coming up, and extremely excited about our Cure Chain launch, which just happened, was it almost 3 hours ago, I think. And it's looking really well, looking great. But yeah, let me start out. So I'm obviously Jake Beckley, for those of you who I've never met. Boy, how do I describe myself? I guess I have a day job. Okay, so I know, hard to say when you're in crypto that you have a day job, because it is a full-time job in crypto in itself. But I am Executive Vice President of Product, Technology, and Innovation for the largest marketing innovation agency in the U.S. And I've been there 2 decades of time, worked my way up and worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. So you name it, Disney's, the Cokes, McDonald's, you name it, I've worked with them, and built some pretty cool technologies and innovations and other types of things to help take their companies to the next level. So that's my day job. What I'm most passionate about, and kind of what drives me, is the charity side of things, the foundation. I started a nonprofit 501c3 organization in 2016, but I had been raising money for pediatric cancer for many years, and really proud of the fact that even prior to crypto, I was able to raise about $1 million just from the foundation. And we're a dollar in, dollar out foundation, meaning that if someone donates $10,000 to the foundation, $10,000 of that is going out of the foundation to research and to families in need. Most recently, since we started Cure Token, so it's been a great ride, and that's where my passion lies, on the foundation side. So I started the foundation to focus on pediatric cancer research almost exclusively. I saw that there was a problem in research side of things, and the amount of money that would be utilized for pediatric cancer research was so little, and surprisingly little in comparison to, not to diminish the effects of other cancers, but breast cancer, or look at ALS, for example, or some of these other massive organizations that get so much awareness and so much reach and bring in so much amount of funds. Pediatric cancer doesn't really get that. It's an area that is underserviced. And I saw that as a problem, and I wanted to make a difference. So throughout the years, I've done a variety of different things. So we've done the historical silent auction items and cocktail parties and dinners, and anything we can do as a foundation to raise awareness, get contributions that can be utilized for research. But I've done even crazier stuff. Like I always try to put myself out there to do things that are outside of my wheelhouse, outside my comfort zone, to raise awareness. Like, for example, I built a boat and rowed the boat, like with oars, across Lake Michigan, which was 65 miles, and it took 25 hours, and I went straight across. And it was day and night, and it was nonstop. And I did that to just build awareness. Like, people need to focus, their time and their dollars towards pediatric cancer, and it was a big success. And I ended up doing it twice, which, don't ask me why. I should have learned the first time not to do it, but I did it a second time with Charles Peanut Tillman, who used to play for the Chicago Bears for, I think, 14 years or something like that. And he heard about it, and he's like, "Hey, I want to do this with you." So I designed the boat, we built it together on nights and weekends, and then we did it again right before the pandemic. And actually, all of that coming together is what started Cure. It's this idea that the pandemic hits. So put yourself back in time to March of 2019 now? Is that when it started?
2020.
Yeah. 2020, yeah, it started in 2020. And put your mind back there, and you think, oh, we're going into a pandemic, and everybody's potentially losing their jobs, and income is going to be an issue, and we need to clamp down on our financial spending, for example. Every family went through this. Every person went through this. And one of the biggest industries that got impacted was the nonprofit sector. Nonprofits rely on contributions from people and organizations, and that all kind of ceased to exist because everyone kind of closed in a little bit. So our foundation had made real personal and meaningful commitments to researchers and to research to keep it going. And we didn't want that to go away. So we had to pivot. And being an innovation, I'm always thinking, how can we combine this with that to make something different? So that was the birth of Cure Token. And what I naively thought, was the first charity project in the crypto space. Okay, I really did believe that until I got into the space and then realized, oh my God, there are so many charity projects, and every project has a charity component, and every project that's a charity, every in air quotes, is a scam, and it's a rug pull. There's big rug pulls. I remember when we launched a year ago yesterday, it was right on the heels of one of the biggest charity rug pulls that I had ever heard of, which was Save the Kids. And that was a uphill battle, being a charity project right on the heels of that. And it was difficult. And you keep in mind that investors in crypto are in it because they want to make money. They're not in it to help charity. They're not in it to do good. They just want to make money. That's why people come into crypto. That's what attracts people. And so that's also been a kind of a conflict throughout this process. But what I found is that inherently people do want to do good. They do want to be attached to projects that they feel have a positive impact or are making a positive impact. But at the same time, you can do that and you can potentially make money. So that was the birth of Cure. Cure Token was that, hey, let's start up a charity project and let's help fund all of the research we want to do and make the foundation sustainable. And what I'm most proud of about the foundation is the fact that we're dollar in, dollar out. That's not heard of a lot in foundations. Sometimes, and I won't throw big groups under the bus, but there's a big army group in the U.S., massive. Everybody's heard of them, and of every dollar that comes in, 20 cents goes out to people who need it. That's sad. I mean, they're spending so much on marketing, so much on operations, so much on facilities, all these things to keep this stuff going, that they've lost sight of what's important, which is having a direct impact in the lives of people who need it most. So I'm proud of the fact that we're dollar in, dollar out. And even so much so that when we started the foundation, my wife and I, we were dollar in, $1.50 out. And we would put 50% more on top of every dollar coming in, because we wanted to be known as the foundation that didn't just, exist and help others and dollar in, dollar out. We wanted to be above and beyond that. So it became unsustainable when we started to generate so much contributions coming in, but we did it for a long period of time. And I'm super proud of that. And I'm proud of what the foundation has accomplished, and more importantly, what we've been able to do since we went into crypto. That's when things really took off. I mean, we were a regional foundation that just supported local research in Chicago. Every once in a while, we would help with direct family support, and that was very rare. But with the evolution and iteration and innovation into crypto, we've been able to now add direct family support as one of the main things that we do. We pay mortgages and car payments and medical bills. We built a ramp for wheelchair. We send kids on vacations for kids who have never been on a vacation in their lives because their whole lives have always revolved around cancer. So it's cool that we're able to make much more of an impact, but not solely exclusively focused on research, but also on direct family support, which is even more rewarding to know that you're making a real impact in the lives of people who need it. So I'll pause there, but that is the birth of Cure Token, and kind of how all this came together, and how we got to being here now a year old. And what I believe, even in a down market, with the market in Binance Smart Chain from our launch having been down 60% plus, still being sustainable, still being a viable opportunity, but also great entry point at this point. So the last point I'll make about charities before we get into too much on the AMA here is, being a charity project alone is not sustainable. I mean, it's very difficult to be a sustainable charity project. You need to focus on utility. You need to find value outside of just the charity aspect, so that you can reinvest in the project, reinvest in your liquidity, try to create a positive return at the end of the day. So we've spent the past year focusing on that, and our launch, which has taken place 3+ hours ago, is a testament to that. This is our beneficiary utility that is directly impacting Cure Token and the chart, and but as well impacting the world. And I can't wait to talk about what's on the horizon for Cure Chain and what it's all about.
Yeah, Jacob, and can you go into some of those utilities for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So all cryptos kind of go through phases, and they do the major milestones. So they launch They go on different listing sites. They get listed on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. All these roadmaps are the same. Every project's roadmap is basically the same.
Yeah.
And then you introduce your first utility, which is staking, most of the times, maybe farming, that sort of stuff. But it's kind of the ante. Now it's the projects that I feel that step out of that and start doing innovative things that are the ones that are really differentiating themselves and differentiating the possibilities within crypto. One of the utilities that we built and utilize today is a utility called CurePay. And I'm really proud of this, but the birth of it is actually kind of a funny story. I mean, most of the people who were coming into Cure Token early on were not crypto investors. It was people in the mainstream world who had heard about the project, like, oh, that'd be cool. I'd love to make an investment in crypto, and what better place to do it than in a project that focuses on pediatric cancer. So these people know nothing about crypto. They don't know what a wallet is, an exchange, PooCoin, PancakeSwap. I mean, it's all Greek. They know nothing about it. So I felt, after I think it was my 1 millionth call where I'm walking somebody through how to set up a wallet and buy, I'm thinking, why don't we automate this? And why isn't there a better way to automate this? So that was the birth of CurePay. So I spent a weekend coding CurePay and building it. And I built a product which makes it as simple as buying a pair of shoes or a t-shirt online, just like you're making any e-commerce transaction. And you don't have to know anything about a wallet or an exchange or any of that stuff. So it's a non-custodial wallet that you access through standard authentication, your email and your password. So you don't have to worry about private keys or a wallet. But when you buy with credit card. It's also the cheapest on-ramp, fiat on-ramp to crypto. It's I think 5% to get in, which is unheard of. You go to MoonPay or Simplex, you're paying upwards of 28% in some cases. So it's a very cheap on-ramp. And I guess the point is you don't have to know anything about crypto. So you make your purchase, you get an email, you log into your account, you get a dashboard, and then you can see your tokens and you can interact with them. And this is attracted, and it was designed and built so that I wouldn't have to walk people through setting up wallet for one, but more importantly, it's built for the people who just don't know anything about crypto. So this utility, obviously built for Cure Token, so it's a direct on-ramp to Cure Token, but we're extending this now into the Ethereum space. So now it's a much more viable product. And once we do that, we're going to be licensing it to other projects. And we've already spoken with some of the largest projects in crypto that have been struggling to build a fiat on-ramp, a good one, a legitimate one that works well. And we've been talking to them about licensing CurePay, white labeling it, so you won't even know it's CurePay. It'll be their project's on-ramp, but Cure Token would benefit from it. And each transaction that takes place through our rails, we would be able to add more dollars to our liquidity, which would massively grow this project at a significant scale, especially when some of the projects that we're talking to are talking about 7-figure numbers of pass-through that they're going to be doing on a volume basis through our on-ramp. So this is a really exciting proposition for us. So we're spending a lot of time there. And other utilities are, we've now launched our beneficiary utility, which is CureChain, and I'll talk more about that roadmap and what that technology looks like in a bit here. But we have done basically everything that every project does. It's cookie cutter. You get listed on a decentralized exchange, you try to get listed on a good centralized exchange, and everybody has the same roadmap. But we've tried to differentiate ourselves through technology and innovation, and that's where we got to today with our first launch of CureChain. And this is now going to be an evolution of this utility to make it a very viable real-world product.
Yeah, Jacob, and I definitely want to speak a lot about CureChain going forward. Before we do, really quick, what makes the ecosystem different than other major charities? I know you mentioned that a lot of these guys take a large percentage of all donations to fund their own existence. How do you guys ensure that 100% of all the donations made by Cure go directly to the research teams that need them?
Yeah, so a couple things. One is, unlike a lot of charity projects, we actually are a 501c3, so we are accountable to the IRS. We have open books, because you have to be fully transparent as a 501c3 in the US. And that provides a level of transparency, which if we're talking future state and innovation, that's where blockchain needs to be applied personally, is into that sector to create more transparency. But we have to be transparent. The dollar in, dollar out is something I'm proud of, and it is transparent. So dollars coming in out of Cure Token going into the charity, that's all going out. I mean, I've got desks full of letters to this one to Rush University of all the different stuff that we're contributing to, all the direct family support that we're providing, not the most recent stuff, but it's all on our website. We still have to update it with the most recent things. But all that is out there for people to see, and people to read the stories about the families we support, but also see the research that we're supporting. And so we are all about transparency, and have been since day one. This project launched on two principles, two foundational founding principles. One is transparency, and the other one is authenticity. Those who have known me throughout this past year probably know that I am overly transparent when it comes to our project, and probably show too much behind the curtains, because I don't hide anything, and I show everything. And it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes that hurts you, sometimes that's great. But I feel that by being transparent, it's inevitably always going to win. You're always going to net positive as a result. So that's been a foundational principle for us. And I think the fact that we are a 501c3, I think is kind of the backbone to that. We have to do it from a financial, to be prudicious, I think is the word. Maybe that's the wrong word. Anyway, you get the idea. But you have to be responsible for every dollar. So that's something that I feel is carried over into the project, and I'm just proud of what we've been able to accomplish. I just wish that the market would have taken a different turn back in November, and we'd be sitting in a different. Every project, every investor would probably be sitting in a different scenario than we are today. But extremely proud of what we built.
Yeah, and I think you should be. You guys are much different than any other charity token that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them in my time in the space. Most of them aren't around anymore for obvious reasons. And again, I want to talk a lot about the Cure chain. A few more questions as a precursor. Can you just briefly about the financial airdrops and who they benefit, and also maybe tell us about Lucas, the 4-year-old boy with leukemia, and how the Cure token was able to help him and people like him overcome these very difficult and troublesome situations that they're in.
Yeah, you were cutting out on the first part of that, but I think you were talking about I didn't quite hear. But
no, I'll repeat that again. So, and it's a kind of a 2-part question, but I think that one relates to the other. I was curious for you to tell us more about the financial airdrops, who they benefit, and maybe you can give us the example of Lucas, the 4-year-old boy with leukemia, and how it was able to help him in a very difficult situation, and those like him as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is also something that I know the community is extremely proud of, is that we have a grant form on our application, or on our website. It's an application where people can apply for grants for families that have a child with cancer right now. We are going to be expanding it to other diseases as well as adulthood health issues. But that grant form has 100% acceptance rate so far. So every single form that has come in that has requested a grant for a family, that family has received something, and something financial. And we've just had 2 recently come in this past month, which I still have to follow up in. So I can't say it's 100% right now, because there's still 2 that are outstanding. However, everything prior to these last 2 have been awarded. And we've been able to do a lot of positive stuff. We've paid mortgages, car payments. We put a family up in hotels in, I think they were from Puerto Rico, but their child was sick in Miami. We took care of all their expenses there. I mean, there's been just so many things that we've been doing around the world as well, which, keep in mind, when I started this foundation, I never thought it would be a worldwide foundation or even a national. I just thought it would be a Chicago-based foundation. We'd help this research lab and that research lab. We might help a few families locally. But the fact that we've been able to reach out, and now we're reaching out globally. We've supported a family in Turkey. We've supported medical healthcare unit, we're talking a lot today. A children's hospital in the UK. We've done grants in Puerto Rico, in South America, in Asia. I mean, we've done a significant amount, and we've got a lot of reach all throughout the US as well. And now we've expanded our funding of research to not just be Chicago-based, but we've also gone out to Sloan Kettering in New York, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, which is CHOP, as well as a university hospital in North Carolina. So we're kind of doing a lot right now. But as far as the transparency goes there, we post everything we get. So all these letters that we get from our contributions, they all go into our chat. We update as often as possible our giving page on our website, which shows where these grants have gone and the impact that they've had. The story that you were mentioning about Lucas, really inspirational child here. It's this, I think, shows the reach, demonstrates the reach of what we've been able to accomplish in a year. So we never used to be about direct family support, or if we did, it was just a very small piece of our charter as a foundation. However, Cure Token has opened us up to that because our community wants us to help people directly. They don't want to see just checks going to a university that does research. They want to see families benefit. And I think it's rewarding, when we tell the stories and they see the impact. So Lucas is a child who was diagnosed at a very young age with leukemia. And I remember meeting him. He's one of the happiest kids I'd ever met. But his whole life and his family's life always revolves around cancer. I mean, his existence has been revolving around cancer, leukemia specifically. And when you think about that, there's a couple things that people who don't have that scenario happen to them don't understand. One is, when your child gets diagnosed with cancer, your whole life changes. Your whole family's lives change. And in their case, they were a dual household income, and the mother usually, and in this case that did happen, had to quit her job so that she could care for her son. And then the father's out there trying to provide, but struggling. I mean, so immediately there's financial burdens that hit families overnight. This isn't something that just gradually they ease into. This happens like immediately. And more times than not, statistically in the US, these families end up claiming bankruptcy because they can't make their current bills, let alone all of the healthcare bills that are, the exasperated healthcare bills that are dropped onto their tables for the lack of sufficient, equal, and accessible and affordable healthcare throughout the world. So tons of challenges here, but that's a big burden. But in the case of Lucas, imagine being so young, you're diagnosed at a very young age, your family never goes on a vacation, never takes a trip. You never experience anything outside of going to this hospital and that clinic and this test and school and all these sorts of things all revolve around, just healthcare and being a kid in healthcare. And it's unfortunate. So what we wanted to do was grant him a trip of a lifetime, and not just for him, but for his family as well, so that they can create memories. That's the most important thing is, how can you cherish the time that you have together, because it's short. All of us, time is short, and you need to create memories, experiences. And in this case, we wanted to provide him with his first ever vacation. So we partnered with Walt Disney World and a foundation out there called Give Kids the World. And we worked together to build just the best experience possible for him. And we built it. And I know he went there and he was just, for, even if it was just, I think he was there for like 4 or 5 days, he didn't think about cancer. He didn't think about the next treatment that he has. He didn't think about, the next bunch of needles and tests that he's going to have to get done. He just enjoyed time with his family, enjoyed meeting Mickey Mouse and Goofy and all those other things. And to know that the community that is building Cure Token, because this is a community project, the community behind this enabled that to occur, I think is extremely rewarding. Not just for myself to see that this is coming to life and we're making a real impact, but for all of the people who participate in it. I think it's just it's a testament to the fact that we can build something that seems counterintuitive, crypto and charity, but we can actually do some good at it, and attract a lot of people in the space that enter into crypto because they want to make money, but stay in Cure because they believe in what we're doing. And they believe that one day, our project will get back to its heyday. It's inevitable. We're in our consolidation period. We're doubling down on investments. We're launching new utilities. We're going to get back there. So I'm just grateful that the community's been a part of it and believe in it and are sticking around in this down market to be here. And I think a piece of that is Lucas's story. I think it's all the kids that we help, that they can see that we actually do make a massive impact in real world people and real lives and change people's lives.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty much why I asked you to share that story. I wanted our community members to hear the tangible impact that you guys are having on an everyday life. And obviously Lucas is highlighted in your website and white paper. But Jacob, I wanted to move on to the, blockchain that you guys are developing. What are some advantages for developing a fully functional blockchain? And how do you plan on attracting users and liquidity from more popular blockchains like BSC or Ethereum?
Yeah, so great question. And when I concepted Cure Chain, and let me set it up a little around what Cure Chain is, because that's going to dovetail really nicely into that conversation about blockchain. Certainly. And where we're going with it. And what I mean by that is like, what is Cure Chain, and why are we even talking about a blockchain, a net new or other? And what happened was during the pandemic, and forevermore, all of our lives are going to revolve around the pandemic. We're going to reference it forever. But a lot of good things came out of the pandemic. It's hard to say, but a lot of good things did. And one of which was, my reasoning of like, how is it that we're able to come out with a vaccine so quickly? I mean, it just boggles my mind. We can't cure the common flu, and we can't do this, and we can't do that. Yet we're able to come out with a vaccine that, fairly effective vaccine at that point, that in 3 months, and then it's on the streets in another 3 months. I'm like, how the hell does that happen? And so I work in innovations. I'm always dissecting things, breaking them apart, kind of trying to organize things, trying to understand if something works, kind of what makes it work. Or if something's broken, why is it broken, and how do you fix it? So looking at that problem, I looked and analyzed tons of different categories of variables and scenarios and other influences to that, what contributed to it. What I realized that I bucketed it into 3 different categories, one of which was data. There was a massive amount of data that was shared with researchers all throughout the world, and data at a scale that really hasn't been done before. And I'm talking about medical data, first-party data, government organization data, except for China. There was also social media data, mainstream media data. All this data around the pandemic and COVID-19, all was being fed into the support of finding a vaccine, and was all being utilized for that purpose. So massive amounts of data. The second thing, and probably the most important point here, is that researchers stopped working in these silos and pockets all throughout the world. And, I know a lot of researchers that don't do this, but most of them do, where they are very siloed. They're in a little closed corner of their office, writing their next research paper, doing some tests, and releasing it in 2 or 3 years, trying to get their next grant. And that's unfortunate, because when researchers in scale work together, you get better outcomes. You get faster results. You start to collaborate and share. That was definitely a finding that I discovered of why we were able to get through the pandemic as quickly as we did. The third thing is around motivation. I want to talk a lot about that maybe later on after I answer your question about blockchain. But motivation was, you didn't want to die. You didn't want your family to die. You wanted, you didn't know how bad this thing was going to be, so you wanted to get there from here to the finish line as quickly as possible. Those 3 scenarios heavily contributed to the pace at which research was able to occur. I mean, that's the reason we came out with a vaccine as quickly as we did. Now, you think about that, you're thinking, how can that be replicated? How can you bottle that up, now apply it to cancer research, pediatric research, ALS, anything like heart disease, diabetes? Why can't we do that same thing at that same scale, at that same pace that we did over there, and applied attention there? Why can't we do that elsewhere? We can. And that's where we get into the technology solution, which Cure Chain is the start of this. So this is a, let me put it in crypto layman's terms, because I know everyone here is educated enough to know a lot about crypto and NFTs. So we are building a dynamic NFT blockchain, call it for now. So a dynamic NFT blockchain where your medical information, yours or mine, is added and appended to an NFT, which is a dynamic NFT, which means as you get lab work, radiology tests, as you get all other sorts of treatment, it gets appended to an NFT. The key point there is that by leveraging decentralization, it's not tied to you or I. So it's anonymized, it's agnostic to you, it's redacted of any personal health information, but the data is still there. And then you attach demographical information to it. So, your race, your age, all sorts of demographical information that would be beneficial to researchers, but not who you are. So it can never be tied back to you personally. There's a value to that. The power of NFTs is that there's residual income streams, or whatever you build into those contracts. So you could think of like the music industry. You write a song and you get royalties for that song for as long as you live. Think of the apes, NFTs. Same thing. As you sell those, or you want to earn passive income, you hold it longer. There's tons of values that can be applied to these NFTs. A different type of token economics can be applied. And there's a value to your data. Why should they own your data? Why should they monetize your data like Facebook and Google did? Why don't we own our data? And why can't we, control the destiny of our data and be rewarded for it at the same time? So this dynamic blockchain NFT concept is what the birth was of the pandemic. And, And that's what we're building. So a lot has progressed since this original idea was conceived. We've connected with one of the leading blockchain experts in the world, Jim Nasser, who used to be the head of the CDC as far as blockchain architecture and technologies. He went off, he worked CDC for many years, and he went off, did some consulting, and then he started up his own technology company, which is called Acore Technology, that works on technologies just like this, that work in healthcare space, that work in blockchain space, that are trying to bridge the gap of healthcare and blockchain. And so we connected, and he has tried personally and has known a lot of people that have tried to build this type of concept. I think the gaps and the reason that we've connected so well is that we both have different perspectives on innovation and technology. And by leveraging the power of NFTs, it opens up whole new doorways to possibilities. By having tokenomics and crypto built into this ecosystem, there's a whole nother level of benefits and value. So originally, when we conceived this concept, our intention was to build an entirely new blockchain. But after lots of discussion and consultation, we realized we're not in the business of financially supporting a new blockchain, the costs associated with it, the risks associated with it. And what we determined is that we want to ride on the rails of something that's proven, something that's solid, stable, something that has a very long roadmap ahead of it that's going to be here in the next 50 years. And where we net it out is that we want to build this on Hedera for the actual consent model of the medical data. So, and that has a great bridge to Ethereum. And that's the reason that we've launched initially on Ethereum, as opposed to launching an extension within Cure Token on the BSC space. We needed to get on the Ethereum side and get into the Ethereum side in a way that was much more tangibly tied to Hedera as the final network for this entire sort of ecosystem that we're building. Now I need to take a breath. Did I lose you? I think I may have. Okay. Well, we'll continue on about some of the other topics around Cure Chain. So obviously there's Cure Token, which is the charity token. That is the foundation of our ecosystem. That is I was on here last talking about that. And that is forever going to be a part of our ecosystem. And what I've been trying to do throughout the past year, we just had our year birthday yesterday, but what I've been trying to do is figure out how do we strengthen Cure Token? How do we create more value to support it? And the way you do that is through utility. You have to create technologies that feed into your project. Cure Chain is an extension of Cure Token and is going to be benefiting Cure Token. So the growth and success of Cure Chain is inevitably going to continue to make Cure Token stronger and our liquidity stronger and a viable destination for people who believe in the possibilities of where we can go. Unfortunately, with all crypto projects, we did get to the point where we did do our 1500x. We did get up to I think 56 million market cap, and we've been doing consolidation. It's been a down market, just like everyone's experienced, but it's also been our consolidation period. So now we're getting to the point where we've consolidated at a pretty great pace, where I feel that with the extension of CurePay, which I'll talk about in a second, but also Cure Chain, we're going to be building Cure Token to all new heights, and especially when the market comes around for both Smart Chain as well as Ethereum and Bitcoin. I mean, things are just going to completely turn the opposite direction of what everyone's been experiencing for the past 5-6 months, almost 6-7 months at this point.
So Jacob, what are some ways that, let's say myself and others, can upload our medical information into a dynamic NFT and actually earn full income by allowing, let's say, these isolated silos to pull from it and use it for research? Yeah,
so look at this in 3 different layers. the layer you're asking about is how do you get data in. The next layer is like kind of that middle layer that's almost agnostic of data coming in or usage or areas of stuff coming in. But then there's that third layer, which is how does data get utilized by researchers. So what we're focusing on first is that middle layer, because that is really the center hub of this entire chain. The first part of this is how do you get data into it? People aren't going to sit there and email and scan or type in information. That's pretty unrealistic, unrealistic expectation. The benefit here is that this already kind of exists, this piece of it. So if you have ever logged into your doctor's office, for example, you see a small segment of your lab results or your last e-visit or anything like that. That's actually just a small segment of a much larger record. That's your consumer-facing version of a massive amount of data. We have pipelines into that massive amount of data. Those networks already exist. That infrastructure already exists. Healthcare providers, hospital networks, physicians, they all are subscribing to this data. But what we see is just a small piece of it. So that pipeline already exists and we're tapping into it. What we're leveraging the blockchain for is the consent, so that we can get consent, a proven consent that that authorization to that information has been validated and approved, and that you are in fact the owner of that information. But keep in mind, it's all still not tied to you as an individual. So there's almost like a Web 2 and a Web 3 component to all of this. The Web 2 being the login, the interface, the API, and then the Web 3 being, okay, now that that's done, here's all the data anonymized, redacted, and accessible now that isn't tied to a person. So it's the front end of this. Imagine, for example, it could be many things, but what we're going to be building is a front end experience where you would do a simple KYC type thing to validate that it's you, maybe not as rigorous as a traditional KYC as we know it, but other ways, maybe the same ways that Equifax or Experian or credit cards utilize. But there would be a simple way to prove it's you. You would log in to your traditional dashboards and through API, the way that you normally do to any sort of digital version of access, whether it be pharmacy, physician, healthcare, hospital network, whatever. The data comes in, it's all structured. It's all structured in pretty standard ways. There are pretty significant standards around health information. And it gets attached to your dynamic NFT, which lives with you for life. You earn passive rewards in some way that we're working through right now on the tokenomics side of things, as long as you have that NFT and as long as you've provided that consent. And keep in mind that NFTs are not, they don't expire, so that NFT is going to live on forever in perpetuity, even after we expire. And it'll become an inheritable asset, so imagine passing on, not just your house and your car or your 401k and your insurance plan, but you're also passing on your NFTs and your cryptocurrencies and all that. It's a real thing. So this is something that will earn for use based on how is it getting utilized for research? Researchers, are they accessing it? All those different key points around all of that are getting worked out in a way that we want to be able to monetize the data and reward the people who provide consent to the data, the anonymous consent to the data. And then there's the research side, which is how do people access it? What do they do with it? Is there accountability? Is there transparency? All those sorts of things are part of this model and the ecosystem as well.
And Jacob, of allowing these isolated information silos to connect with one another and share information is obvious to me and others, especially if you're listening to you talk about it. I understand why they wouldn't be able to do this with the blockchain that already exists, like Ethereum. What is the purpose of launching your own, again, Cure chain? Also, part question, because you're really good at responding to multiple at once. Is this going to be an EVM chain? What consensus mechanism is it going to use? Can you give us some more insight as to the fundamentals?
Yeah, absolutely. So it makes a lot of sense for a variety of reasons to go on the Hedera blockchain. Hedera is a very, very fast network, very fast. Gas fees are fractions and fractions of pennies compared to Ethereum, which just launching Cure Chain earlier today has cost us over $3,000 in gas fees to launch the contract, modify variables, transfer tokens. I mean, it's been a very expensive.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you there, Jacob. And I maybe I shouldn't have used Ethereum as an example. Say Avalanche, let's say Chrono, let's say any of the low fee blockchains currently exist. Why not use those? Ethereum, it was not an example, but I'm just
good.
What the point of blockchains that are battle tested currently out there? What's the reason to build your own and heavy lift?
Well, just to be clear, we're not building our own from the ground up. We are using Hedera. So Hedera is comparable to the examples that you provided. Let me pause my
bar.
My setting here. It's HBAR. Yeah. And excuse me. Yeah. So Hedera is a proven and sustainable network. There's so many values in there, not just the gas fees and all of that sort of thing, but it's the scale and the speed at which it works. But more importantly, it's kind of the go-to for anything when it comes to healthcare. You are seeing a lot more healthcare blockchain technology products and companies launching on Hedera than any other at this point. Very similar to how we're seeing a trend with NFTs on Solana, rather than Ethereum. It's different reasons, but we're seeing trends of where things go for certain things. And the Hedera seems to definitely be the go-to. One of the other big things about Hedera is that it is one of the fastest. It does 10,000 blocks a second, and comparing that to other networks, it's a massive difference. So it's tons of reasons, but I'd say speed, security, the healthcare side of things. There's so many reasons why Hedera is the right blockchain that we're building this on top of, as opposed to, well, first off, we're not doing something net new because that would be extremely risky, and we've learned that. However, we wanted to go with something that was built for this type of solution, and that's why we've chosen Hedera as that network.
Got it. So you're not actually building your own chain. You're using HBAR, aka Hedera. Absolutely. The challenge is to build something like an Avalanche or a Hedera on our own would take millions and millions and millions of dollars, thousands of hours, not just to build it, but to maintain it and keep it live. I mean, we're seeing outages on Solana right now that are under 6th or 7th outage this year. It's a big undertaking and too ambitious. And what we want to do is, we don't want to always invent technology from the ground up. We would rather leverage best of breed. Just like for data storage on the technology side of things, we're going to be leveraging Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, all three of them, for redundancy purposes. We're not going to be picking and building our own ecosystem and kind of network infrastructure. We're going with the proven stuff, the stuff that's battle tested, the stuff that is, certified for healthcare purposes. I mean, this is important and valuable information. We just don't want it out there, kind of for anyone to be able to get to or decompile and all those sorts of things. So security is critical, and we have to go with best of breed technology. And Hedera, HBAR, is the one that we've chosen as being the most viable and the most scalable for what we're trying to do. Understood. And how far out is your official migration to Hedera?
Okay, so our Ethereum project will not ever never migrate. It'll be a bridge to Hedera. That's another reason why we're going to Hedera route. But we are about, I would say, 60 to 90 days out from a demonstrable prototype working version of the first phase of CureChain from a technology, medical health record, and NFT perspective. So the consent model, the proof of authenticity aspect of it, the sign in, the sign up, all of those types of things. We're really close. And this CureChain token, this CureChain launch is what is enabling the first phase to occur. And we're bringing it all together so that it'll live. The token economic side will be tied between Hedera and Ethereum, and the whole medical side of the data, the access, the research aspect of it is all living on the Hedera side.
Understood. And, it's interesting to hear you mention Hedera. My friend, HBAR for the last 6 months. And to be quite honest with you, I would always ask him, what's being built on that chain? I'm not too familiar with it. So, and I don't want us to go on too much of a are choosing to continue the growth of your ecosystem on HBAR. So can you just give us, a high-level overview of what kind of chain HBAR is? Is it stake? Is it EVM compatible? What is the primary coding language? Can you give us just a high-level overview?
Yeah, so I can go into that a little bit, but that's why, as I mentioned, I'm bringing on Jim Nasser, and Jim Nasser, head of the CDC. This is his focus: is blockchain technology at scale, and the intricacies of it. So I'm going to defer to him rather than misspeak, but that's why he's on board, and the fact that he is on board, I think, is a testament to what we're trying to accomplish, and knowing that it's going to be built right because you have such an expert behind it and a solid team supporting him. I'd rather defer to him rather than misspeak on that question.
Jacob, we have about 11 minutes to aim. Obviously, there's not enough, so much in such a short amount of time. I'm going to go through a few of my questions. I'll call on some community hands, but is there anything specifically so far that I have asked that you can tell us about or discuss?
Yeah, so obviously Cure Chain, the Ethereum version of the ecosystem, launched today. We have a successful launch going on right now. And so it's still very early on in the project. Right now it's 4 hours old, if that. And definitely take a look at it. I think there's some links that somebody's dropped in. But some of the other things around the Cure ecosystem, which I think are really important to understand, is we're not a new project. I mean, we're a project that has been in the space for a year as of yesterday. We've done some pretty progressive and innovative things throughout our time in the Binance Smart Chain space. Developing CurePay, the easy on-ramp, the cheapest on-ramp. Building out staking platforms, getting listed on centralized exchange. all these types of things that all projects do. But from a marketing perspective, I think we're probably one of the most progressive, because Cure, the ecosystem, Cure token, all of that resonates much more with people outside of crypto than it does inside. We're getting a lot of holders that are coming in that know nothing about crypto. So it's attracting a different type of audience. And that also means that we're marketing differently. We're not marketing like a traditional crypto company or a crypto project would. We are leveraging, we're doing crypto marketing, of course, just because we have to, but we're doing a lot more marketing outside of crypto. We have a video right now on American Airlines, for example, for last month and this month. We're also doing a NASCAR sponsorship in September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, for the Cup Series of NASCAR. And we're sponsoring a full car. You're going to see Cure running around the track at 200 miles an hour for 3 hours or 4 hours. And it's great exposure. And as you can tell from the project, we've always been trying to figure out ways, how can we bring more people into the project? And it's been through, traditional marketing is one tactic, but it's also been through education and trying to make it simple for people to come into it. People who don't know anything about wallets, who don't know anything about exchanges or PancakeSwap, to allow them to buy Cure token, that's revolutionary. There's not a lot of fiat on-ramps that allow you to pay with a credit card and immediately purchase a project's token. That is one of our big differentiators. That's one of our big utilities that we're going to be licensing to other projects. That's going to build all of our equity, our liquidity up within Cure token and the ecosystem. Is going to be through innovations and technology innovations like that.
Understood. And I always say, the more fiat the crypto gateway have, the more money that will ultimately go into the space, and you need to have fiat the crypto gateway that token directly. Sorry, can you hear? Or is my...
You're breaking up quite a bit, but I'm making it out. But you are breaking up quite a bit.
Okay. Latency drop for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to speak a bit slower, Jacob.
Okay.
So, as far as can I use my credit card and buy the Cure token, or is it something that is still in the works?
No, it's active right now. It's been live since November of last year. It is as simple, if not simpler, than buying a shirt online. pair of shoes. You go to the website, you enter in your amount of tokens you want to buy based on US dollars. So you say, I want to buy $100 worth of tokens. And it takes you to the next screen, which is built on Stripe, where you enter in your credit card details and your email address. That's it. Within, I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds, the transaction takes place and you now own Cure Token. And you have to know nothing about a wallet or anything about an exchange. Immediately following that, you get an email as your receipt, which gives you information to log into your custom dashboard, where you can now see the tokens that you just purchased, but also you can transfer them to a wallet if you're a sophisticated user and you know what a wallet is. But we're building additional features where you'll be able to sell immediately right there, as well as buy more right from your dashboard, so that becomes your destination. And this is great for people who know nothing about crypto, because the gap of knowledge necessary to buy any project is significant. By eliminating all of that knowledge, that gap, it makes it really simple. And then you can educate people along the way. Then you can start to explain, okay, well, this is now your wallet. It's your Cure wallet. These are where your tokens are. If you want, put this into your MetaMask or put this into your Trust wallets. And we help and educate along that way. So it's an easy on-ramp, not just for fiat to crypto, but also easy on-ramp for education to get people. I mean, I've had people in their 80s using this product, where they'll pull out their credit card and they say, wow, that was easy. I've never had a transaction go that easy. And it really is. I mean, you could purchase tokens in seconds, and you don't have to be a crypto power user. It could be anyone. So it's really great. And I truly feel that this is going to be the revolutionary product that Cure ecosystem provides to crypto space in general. It's right now built on Smart Chain, BSC. However, we are building it, extending it for Ethereum. So now we'll be able to leverage that power on Ethereum for our Cure chain. And once that's done, that's when we're going to scale this. We've already been speaking to some of the largest projects, most recognized and largest projects in the smart chain space. And they're all interested in this. And we've had some very in-depth conversations with them. And I can't name who they are, but they're talking about volumes in 7-8-figure volumes. We're not talking about someone who's a project who's going to be pushing through $5,000 a month. I mean, we're talking big scale. And that's going to be a massive difference for us. It's going to be a feeder, a real world utility that's going to feed directly into our liquidity and help grow and stabilize our liquidity pool while adding value to so many other projects out there. So it's definitely something that we're focusing a lot of our time on. And right on the heels of this Cure Chain launch, to get this going, we're going to be right up back onto significant development to get that extended into the Ethereum network.
I've had AMAs with us before, probably gone over the tokenomics, but new members in our community. Can you give us a really quick high-level overview of that? So, can you give real world your token provides with respect to cancer research and the overall build?
Okay, I heard some of that. So it was about tokenomics, so I can go through those. I didn't hear the second part of it, so if I don't cover off on it, let me know. But when we launched Cure Token, we were at a fixed 12% tax. And at that point, I think it was 6% that went to charity, and 6% went to operations, marketing, getting people coming into the project. That has since decreased. Cure Token sits now at an 8% tax, and it will get lower. We are going to go down to a 6% tax very shortly here in the future, and that eventually we're going to get lower and lower, and get down really low. On the Cure Chain side of things, it's a little bit of a different type of token strategy. We engineered, Eric on my team engineered a new way of thinking about taxes. And taxes, you should be rewarded as an investor with the more you buy, and you should be de-incentivized if you drop a chart. You should be de-incentivized as an investor to do that. As a project owner, it makes a lot of sense. So we have a thing which is called dynamic tax, which is a new way of thinking about this. So flat tax, there's going to be a 10%, but that can actually go down. So the more you buy, of CureChain, your taxes actually go down. They go down from 10 to 8 to 6 to 4. So you can have as low as 4% tax on buying CureChain, pending. It's tied to the what is that called? The price impact that you get. So if you've ever bought, well, let's say all of us have bought crypto, but when you buy crypto, you do see your price impact. So based on that number, it'll be directly reflecting on what your taxes will be. So very, very revolutionary. So of that 10%, it's broken up into a piece that goes back into Cure token liquidity. There's which inevitably gets to charity as that realm. There's a piece that goes to technology and development, which is furthering our development of CureChain. There's a piece that goes toward marketing and ops in order to keep the project alive, keep it fresh, keep people coming in, keep eyeballs coming in. So we're reinvesting into our ecosystem a lot, significantly, to keep new people coming into our project, getting excited about it, staying because they love what we're doing, and staying for the future of where we're going to be going. So in short, that's breakdown of our current tokenomics on both Cure token and CureChain.
Thank you for that. And again, apologies that my mic is like this. I'm not sure what's wrong with my. I feel like you and I are probably just going for another 2 hours. I want to be cognizant of time. I really appreciate having you on here today. Before you go, our listeners that are just, can you audience a quick overview, quick summary who you are, what you have been doing over the last year, what you just launched, and what your vision is for the long-term future?
Again, I missed the first part of that, but I think you were asking about what are some of the things we've done, what are we doing now, and what's the future vision. So let me answer that question, and hopefully that's the question you asked. We've done historically everything a project should do in the crypto space. We've gone through the exact same cookie cutter: do this, then this, then this, then this. Every project does it or tries to. The challenge we've had is we've been a charity project in crypto, which is opposites. Your crypto is about making money; it's not about charity. So that's been a conflict that I think we've bridged that gap very well. Being a charity project alone in crypto is not sustainable. I don't believe. You have to build utility. We've built utility. That's our goal: is to build real-world utilities that turn us from being a charity project into a real viable project that has real-world utilities. CurePay is an example of that white-labeled on-ramp, but also CureChain is an example of that. That's not the end of it. We're going to be building the vision of this, is that we are continually building new utilities, beneficiary utilities, and adding more value to this entire ecosystem so that investors, whether it be in Cure token, CureChain, or the next iteration of our beneficiary utilities, which are going to be coming out, any place that you participate in that, you're going to be benefiting. And all of them are intertwined in a way that they support each other, which I think is different than a lot of way projects look at this. You can't look at things independently. You have to look at it as an ecosystem, and that's why it's Cure ecosystem. Everything has to add value to the next thing in order to make everything sustainable. So and that's what we're building throughout this ecosystem, is something that we know is sustainable. These Cure token has lasted a year, even in a down market, down 60+%, it's sustainable. CureChain having a great launch right now is sustainable. It's set up to be sustainable, and they're going to support each other. And the next iterations of all of this, and the vision for all of this, is that it all comes together in a way that supports it. Everything benefits from each other. Everything supports one another, and the outcome is that we have a strong, massive ecosystem in the space that is doing significant things in research, in healthcare, in access, and so many things in the space. But inevitably, for me, it's about charity. It's about helping others. It's about doing good, and that's what drives me, is all of that. So Cure token, as being that, is the foundation that I am most passionate about, and all these other things are the real world utilities that are going to do great things, but it's all in support of the charity side of things, which is still my passion and still why I'm here.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jacob. Noah's having some problems, but I offered
No,
to jump in here and finish it off. Like, I'm a kind of a no bullshitter type of guy, and every time you come in here, you bring something new and something innovative and something great. And I'm a tech guy too, so when you're talking about these NFTs where people can keep their data and offer it to researchers, it's for me it's amazing. It's a step forward in the right direction because I've always said I don't care who you are. If I know where your money is going, I can follow that and that will benefit from that. I know where you're putting your attention. But just imagine everybody just giving this personal information without your name, without your address, nothing like that, but just for medical research purposes. Now, if that doesn't spell, progress and good research for you, I don't know what does, to be honest. So I think
yeah,
that's amazing.
I echo that as well because I believe it. You look 12, 15 years ago, maybe not, maybe 12 years ago, this concept of decentralizing finance, DeFi, and there was so much resistance along that way, but people had this idea like, hey, let's decentralize finance. Let's make it so we can do peer-to-peer transfers of transactions in a way that we can bypass all these people with their hands out, taking this money, taking that money along the way. And that is what built cryptocurrency. Now, when you apply that to healthcare, we're going to have the same resistance, but the same value out of that. We are decentralizing healthcare. Healthcare is a top-down mechanism. It's a machine. And all of us are the unfortunate recipients of healthcare. Not to say doctors are bad. Doctors are great. There's so many good doctors out there. There's so much good research being done. There's so much good treatment that's out there. But it's the system that's broken. It's not just the US. It's a worldwide system that's broken of this top-down mentality. But by now approaching it from a DeFi perspective, and call it DeHi or whatever term you want to come up with, but decentralizing healthcare is going to revolutionize things. And I truly believe that that's going to come from crypto. I mean, absolutely believe it. And it's going to come from community-driven initiatives, community-driven projects. And that's where it's going to start. And we're not going to be the ones who are going to cure disease at the end of the day, but I know for certain that we're going to be the ones who are going to help enable cures to come to life. I mean, that's what I want to see happen with all of this. And I want that to be done through technology, blockchain technology, and cryptocurrencies. And I think that's going to be the vehicle for real progress to happen in the world.
I think you're completely right. Nobody pictured that, an evolution to this scale when the first, internet came along and voice over IP and all these things and the degree of people that got involved and push it forward and build some newer, cooler things for us. It's amazing. You're holding your phone in your hand, you're pushing the right buttons, and somebody delivers something for you. You're buying a plane ticket.
Exactly.
You're doing all this. All these things were not possible 30 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just pushing it forward, and blockchain is great, is really amazing for all these type of DeFi products and decentralization and just
Absolutely.
bringing information to the people. Because we used to think, people are a little bit dumb or whatnot because they didn't have access to information. That's not it. It's just they don't use it right. But guess what? There are people out there that do use information right, and they're looking for it. That's why there are big data companies. That's why the big researchers and pharmas have access to this kind of information and can push it forward. But none of them have access to all of it. Now, I
Right.
imagine a world where everybody has access to everything, so you can be wherever you want in your bungalow on a beach. It doesn't matter, and come up with something completely new, completely innovative, and just build something super cool. So I think you're doing something amazing with Cure, and
Thank
at
you.
the same time, I see you guys are keeping it super real with the crypto folk as well, because we just posted in our chat that you have an ongoing buy competition, right? So
Mhm.
you are a real life company, you have experience in these fields and all that, but you're taking the crypto approach as well. So for anybody that wants to jump in, for a chance of, I think you're giving away a point ETH and prizes
Yeah,
for the buy
point
competition,
0.5 ETH.
yeah, so there's opportunities for everybody. So it just looks amazing for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, again, I just appreciate Whale Coin Talk and appreciate you for having us over here again. And it's it's great every time I come here. I learn a bit, but it's also great to talk about the progress we've made. I think every time we come on, you'll see that we are just doing a lot. We got a lot going on, a lot of progress, a lot of movement, and I'm just always excited to share it and have the opportunity to just talk about all the great things I'm pretty proud of.
Great, Jacob. Yeah, it's fun here. It's been great listening, and we've had 4 AMAs with Token now, and the ecosystem you build it now is awesome. And listening back earlier on, like you say, $1 in, $1 out is quite a huge thing. It can't be sort of understated how that's sort of shaking up the charity world, because it creates cynicism. People were, oh, well, they only give 20%, and the rest isn't going to, which is still nice, 20%, going to places it needs to be, but it should be a lot higher. And there's some huge companies out there with hundreds of millions in bank accounts that never get spent on the charity because they always have to have a reserve there. And the dollar in, dollar out is a great aspect of the Cure token. And every dollar.
I agree. That's when we started the foundation. We wanted to be known as that. We didn't want it, the loose. I mean, that's a principle for us. I always wanted to be known as the foundation that people don't have to worry about. Is the money being paid to someone? Is it going toward parties and other expenses? And I'm like, no, this is full transparency. You donate $1,000, $1,000 is going to a family or a researcher who needs it, and just proud of that. So it's been a great adventure over, almost, I guess, a decade now that I've been in this space. But yeah, great adventure, and just I feel we've been able to accomplish quite a bit in a pretty short period of time. And I think Cure Token is a testament to that. I mean, being a year old, and I do feel like a veteran in this space, but a year old for a project is a big milestone. We're in the infancy of change in crypto, and we're going to see a lot of new innovation, new technologies happening here in the next decade. And I think Cure is going to be a part of it, and Cure is going to get to the point where we're going to be driving a lot of it as well.
Awesome, Jacob. Yeah, I mean, you've had 4 AMAs here. It's over a year old. It's always great to speak to you, and we're all learning as hosts and as projects, and about crypto space, and improving all the time. You never stop learning in life. You're always learning until dementia or Alzheimer's maybe, but but I'll finish off here with we always say at the end of AMAs, it's for research and educational purposes. It's not for financial advice. Do your own research. Check out the website, the white paper, the community socials are there in our main chat. But we know Cure Tokens is a very safe project to invest in, and it's 100% back to towards charity and research into cancer research, which is great. And it's always a pleasure to speak to Jacob and the community and the team. It's always awesome, and I'm looking forward to the future with all these expansions with the Cure chain and the ecosystem that you're building there. And I'm sure when we're going back into a bull market, everything will be flying again, and we can get more money into charity. I saw a massive investment on the 28th of May actually on the chart. Was that an entrepreneur came into the project?
It seems to. I don't yet know who it was, so it was anonymous. But there was a big boost that had taken place, and obviously not the last one that's going to be coming in. But I kind of wish I knew who that was. But that's the benefits of blockchain and crypto is the being anonymous. But it was pretty great to see.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for coming today, Jacob. Like I say, it's a super project, and you're always welcome here in the future. And I'm looking forward to everything in the future that Cure ecosystem can build, towards helping cancer research and giving to people that are suffering with cancer. It affects all our families. Everyone's very close to the heart. What we've gone through in the past, and so definitely if we can get a cure in the future, it's going to be awesome for people that suffer with this. I mean, I know, how did that young boy we were talking earlier on, that 4-year-old, was it terminal? Because I know like 90% of leukemia can be cured now, or
Yeah, no, it's
real.
research has definitely paid off, especially in the realm of leukemia. And pleased to say he's doing well. There's been other grants that we have awarded where that's not necessarily the case, and that's just part of having a foundation that focuses on pediatric cancer. It's sometimes the kids end up in a good spot, and sometimes unfortunately they don't. But we want to be there for the families and be there to support in any way we can to help out. So whether that's financial or resources or just connecting them with doctors or anything else like that. That's the purpose of what we do.
Yeah, and I hope, soon, I think in the next 10 years, we will have a lot of stem cell research and everything that's coming along that's going to, wipe out this terrible disease for families and people. And the Cure token is just, a testament to the good that we can do on the blockchain, the BSC and the crypto space, as a whole. And like you say, investors still want to make money, but they're donating to a brilliant charity as well. So thank you very much for coming today again, Jacob Beckley, and I look forward to seeing you maybe in the future this year later on, and you can come and have a chat again. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, and thanks, Glenn, for having us back and being able to share some of the latest and greatest news about what we're doing. But I can't wait to come back because I'm sure we'll have a lot more to share at that point.
I know you're giving 110%, to charity and life and everything. And, life is for living, and you never know, what's down the road. So you've got to enjoy each day as it comes along. And it's great learning new things and spending time with family. And and definitely, just giving back, because giving is the most beautiful thing in the world, really.
Yeah, it really is. It's very rewarding. Well, great. Well, I'm going to head out, but thank you again, Glenn and team, for having us back over here, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. I'll finish the record and send a copy over for your community, and I'll send that into our main chat for our investors to listen back to. And I'm looking forward to the exciting things that Core Token is going to do in the future.
Awesome. All right, well, take care, everyone, and hope to see you all over on our Telegram. All right, take care.
Awesome. Yeah, check out the socials there in the main chat, and you can head over there and have a talk with the community and the team, and find out more about Cure Token.
All right. Thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time.